Good morning, guys. Okay, so no camera today again. I apologize. Just going to be charts straight up. So the question I'm asking myself and the video attempt is to try and answer is this the dip or the beginning of the dip that going to keep on dipping? And there's a fair assumption. There's a few things that I kind of want to share with you guys. So I'm going to head over to my Twitter page real quick before we get into this, because I want to set the narrative for this for you guys straight. And the reality is, some say that there's not enough froth in the market for it to be a top. And, we've got 19 million cryptos created this cycle. So did we get an alt season? No, I don't think we're going to get an alt season, because we had alt creation season. And that is, I think the parting piece for where we're at right now. It's clear that Bitcoin is now losing all its momentum. And yes, we do have, and I have been holding out on this, we do have a potential for, the top being in October. But 2 months off nearest makes no difference. We could be in a situation where we maybe see a little bit of a sell-off and then a test at the lows that we're experiencing now will be the highs at around these levels. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be crystal clear. I mean, there we topped a month before, there we topped on the month, and and so forth. So you can't treat these things to a stop line. Okay, now I sent out this tweet and I said to you guys this, and the first 2 comments that's coming my way already is, so you're officially out of all spot longs. Now, I'm not saying that. Okay, I want to be very selective, and I want to make sure that I get the message through clearly. Okay, I'm not out of all of my spot just yet, but I'm aware to the fact that a top doesn't happen in a split second. We all think that it has to be that apex, that one spot there at the top where the top happens. This is the top, complacency. It's a consistent chop around these areas. And within that complacency, you're going to find altcoins showing you a different sign, okay? Altcoins like Ethereum, that when Bitcoin rallied up, pushed through and made an all-time high. How can one be bearish if a coin just made an all-time high? Well, my friends, the sad reality is any and all bull market tops was at all-time highs. Okay, so you cannot use all-time high as a bullish signal. You have to be open to the fact that tops will always look bullish, just like bottoms will always look bearish. Okay, and then one more thing that I just want to put to you guys, and I want to, before we go into the charts, just get this out there with you guys, okay? And it is the following. When we try and define a bottom, we need to use fundamental analysis. I'm just going to draw an F on the screen. And we need to use technical analysis. Why? You need to know that there is enough going to happen in this project, like Bitcoin. Is it going to be mass adopted? Is it good? Is there something happening in the horizon that makes this a good deal? That's what fundamental analysis is. Okay, park that real quick. Why? What is the best trading strategy for people that uses fundamental analysis exclusively? It's called HODL. Okay, they HODL the shit out of the market. Okay, just buy and hold because it is a good project, and that in itself is good. But Bitcoin was fundamentally sound right there as well. Why the hell did this happen? And if we dive into a different, this is a Bybit chart, go into a Binance chart or something that was around in the previous bull cycles. Fundamentally, anything can still reach a top. You can go to the legacy market and we can have a look at Apple or Amazon or anything like that. When they do have their bull market tops, okay, fundamentally, there's nothing necessarily wrong with them. Okay, why then the retrace? So fundamentals is why you invest in something. Okay, but then the second part of what I want to try and say is technical analysis is how you measure the risk, because you want to buy something that is in accumulation. So that's the edge that we want to use. That is what I'm trying to point out to you guys today. So to simplify this and giving you a yes or no answer on this is irresponsible, because what I'm trying to say to you is that although we're running out of momentum and stuff like that, The market is not ready to turn bear market just yet. It's just the beginnings of it. Okay. So we use fundamentals and technical analysis to get a bottom. But when we get to tops, we cannot use fundamental analysis anymore, because I've proven to you guys that fundamentally there was nothing wrong with Bitcoin there. Why the bear market? And the same here as well. There's nothing wrong with Bitcoin. There's nothing wrong in the market necessarily, but it doesn't mean that we can't go and test these lows. So when it comes to selling, you have to use technical analysis only. And that's where I'm at with you guys now. And the TA is telling me the following things, okay? Bitcoin has lost momentum. We've got strong bearish divergence again, and it is a bullish signal until we fall below 104. This is weekly time frame analysis. So any retraces like this from a macro point of view, from your spot, your HODL bags, Mex, your question, getting out of spot longs, the only time that that becomes a reality for me at this is when we start falling below 104, because then it opens the door for a double top, a test, and then probably going back down to 69 or something like that. The previous major support and resistance levels that was broken or, achieved or climbed above, whatever, however you would want to word that. That is the reality for that. Okay. But there's another question that I think is just as fair. So are you in the camp that there is not going to be an alt season anymore? And that is what brings me to the opening piece. Alt season, we had alt season. The sad reality is none of you guys made money out of alt season. Why? Because there was 19 million coins created. The previous bull market high, we were sitting around 22,000 cryptos to choose from in the previous cycle. So it means, if we look at this, simply put, when ETH was here, there was 22,000 coins to choose. In this time that it took us to get back to that area, 19.5 million or even more, man. I mean, we don't know if they can't count everything. Let's say 20 million coins were created. So the teams, the 20 million people that took time in this area to create a meme coin, a spin on a DeFi project, and those were the guys that made money. We didn't get the alt season for that. So in light of that, I'm saying alt season is not going to look the way you want it to look. Okay. So we do have analysis that points to Solana maybe going to 80 there again, go and visit these range highs. And I'm not saying that that is not going to happen or impossible. But from where we're at right now, Bitcoin first needs to lock in a base. And once Bitcoin has locked in a base, then we can start seeing what happened in the alts. Whether this area where we had, say we lock in a base around now, say at 109 for Bitcoin, and Solana consolidates around 200, that then makes this a possibility. But if Bitcoin goes and locks in a base at 88,000, whatever I'm saying right now, believing that there's a 260, that's going to change if Solana is sitting around, at 140 by the time that happens. And we don't have the answer, so you can't plan for that. You can only prepare for the eventualities. You can say that I'm in the market right now with Solana. Am I in good profit, or am I break even, or am I in slight drawdown? What is the odds that we're going to go back to 280? What's the odds that I'm going to go back to 150? And how can I mitigate that? That's the best you can do for yourself. That is what, in the end of the day, is this complacency. We just need to cool off. There will be another rally. And a lot of people then go through that and say it's not going to happen. Okay. And yes, the euphoria. Who was the geniuses this time around? The geniuses was, and they caught me off guard. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm just as pissed off as you. That's the 19 million people that created projects. They were the geniuses this time. We were buying the stuff. Yeah, we made some good gains. We're going to look at Aero a little bit later on. Some of the ENA, we'd made some good gains. But those guys were the geniuses. Those were the ones that basically, I think, caught everybody off guard. Okay, so there's my little rant. I do apologize if that doesn't fit with your narrative. Typically, this kind of talk, cuts the viewers. People leave. People don't want to hear bad news. They want to see, they want people to say, hey, it's going to go up. Just chill. And yes, this is not invalidated, but until Bitcoin gives me a base, it's worth noting that there's more downside, more probable from where we are right now on the weekly than upside. Simple as that. Okay, so TA, let's quickly get to the comments real quick because I shared a lot of crazy thoughts and theories now. I just want to see where you guys are at. Let me know. Okay, let's see what Charles has to say. Most of the new coins are bot-created pump coins. Yes, but I mean, Charles, that's the problem. Each time that happens, there's people that jump into these to try and get more, to make the money. And it just, dissolves or dilutes the liquidity. Alts did well because they had small market caps. And when Bitcoin lost momentum, typically when Bitcoin got to this area here, losing momentum, people were saying, I made my money. Now what else is there? I made my money, again, just like the last time round. But what else is there? There's 19 million to choose from. How the heck am I going to be in the right one at the right time? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. So yes, Pump Fund, I mean, it's one of those things. There's so many versions of this. Anybody can make a coin these days. So alt season, I think, is going to mature. So my belief is that come next bull market, let's maybe talk about this. You guys know that I was always saying 125 is the top for me. Why are we hovering around that? Statistically, that was the most probable area. Okay, that's all. That's just the TA doing the work. It's not me being a genius. It's the TA doing the work. So I'm looking at the TA and I'm saying the following things. We're probably going to bottom out. Where, I don't know, because I don't know whether the top is in just yet. We could still go make a high, and then everybody would love the bull market again and hate the fact that I said this today. But let's leave it at that. Come the next cycle, alt season, I think, will be matured. You're not going to just buy any new project that says that they're in the AI space because the AI narrative is hot. People are going to be skeptimistic or pessimistic or skeptical. Sorry, bad English. I apologize. In the same way that when they were here, when something else launched, in 2016 bull market, you were ICOs, you were really, you were cautious. What's happening? Because people question stuff at this stage yet. And then it became too easy and nobody started questioning stuff anymore where we are right now. And I think the time then will probably be when we have our next Bitcoin bull season. We probably won't make a higher high. This thing is going to move and gradually move, gradually start petering out almost. Maybe that's not the right term, but start making more conservative gains over time. Why? Because it's being adopted right now by institutions. Once they've adopted it, the adoption is basically there now, So saying that it's going to go to 1 million, yes, could potentially get there. But people are saying 2030, that kind of thing. So it makes sense if you look at it on this scale that, yes, it's going to get there. It just needs time. And it might be that our alt season will only then happen within this cycle. Because if Bitcoin doesn't go 10x and 100x, and in this instance, it went from 16,000 to 120,000. So that's almost a 10x, okay? It doesn't do that anymore. There might be now Ethereum's time, and the proper projects that's out there might have their alt seasons there. Okay, that's the idea. Let's see what else we have in the comments. Isn't there a big CME gap on the upside? Yes. So we're going to look at that now. But the problem that we have with the CME, when we're going to talk trend and direction, let's maybe park that. I'll get to that now. Let's see what else we have here. Yes, 19 million coins. You said it right. Nobody ever cares about it. So it's less coins taking liquidity. You say that, but if a bull market, how a bull market works, okay, let's maybe look at this. How a bull market works is, down here at the bottom, there's maybe 100 people willing to sell Bitcoin, and they each have a Bitcoin. So you've got 100 in the market. When you're at these highs, you might have 50 Bitcoin in the market. But the price now, in liquidity terms, is maybe 10 times or 20 times or 100 times more to get offloaded. Okay. And you're sitting in a situation where all the buyers that are buying here are buying late. The friends that are joining the crypto space now, these are the guys that don't do this full time. They just want to buy and they're here for the good time. All the demand that you're seeing in the market now, as soon as it starts getting too painful for these guys, they're just going to jump ship again. So none of the people that are buying now are buying with the big conviction of saying that I'm investing in something. I understand what it is. They're here to make quick money. So a lot of this is not necessarily market manipulation. This were the guys that were here for the good time. There was no good time. They got out. Had a drawdown, hating the place, and that creates the sell-off. That gives the market momentum. So you need to understand that although you're saying that, 19 is FUD, I won't say it's FUD because people were here for a good time. They didn't get a good time. So what are they going to do? They're going to offload. Okay. And that's the reality. So more coins taking liquidity, in my opinion, not less coins. And I feel like, hey, you can disagree. That's the reality. But that's it. Now, this is a nice thing. Do you think the probable rate cuts are coming? Now, this is a really good point. What have I been saying to you guys since the bear market? When we were at $16,000 a BTC. Statistically, this is the data, guys. This is not me. This is the data. The red line is the stock market. The blue line is the Fed rates. Okay. So the blue is the treasury yield, and this is the rates, the black line. Okay. Now, every time the Fed pivots, that's when it cuts, when it goes up from increasing the interest rates to reducing the interest rates. That's the pivot. Increasing the interest rates to reducing the interest rate. Increasing the interest rates to reducing the interest rate. What followed? Don't take my word for it. What followed? The gray boxes, they point out recessions. Okay? We had a recession, a recession, a recession, recession, recession. People look at the rate cut as their saving grace. But typically the rate cut comes when they've already reached that exhaustion phase and the big reset is going to happen. There's only one crisis where there was rate cuts and the market didn't crash. And that was 2018. And why was that? There was so much quantitative easing happening. The crash only happened much later. All the other times it played out the same. So yes, the rate cuts potentially is going to happen. I mean, statistically, the guys are, I haven't refreshed this since the weekend. Let's just quickly see where we're at. The rate cuts will probably happen. And the market will probably then rally because of the rate cuts. But it's the kind of exit liquidity that the market looks for a long-term correction, because that's just going to bring in more people and give them confidence to buy the top. Okay, it's okay. It's getting better now. This was bearish news back in the day. Now, all of a sudden, the Fed pivot is a bullish sign. See how people can sell you on a narrative. When we were at 16,000, people said rate cut. People don't want the rate cut because of this. Now everybody wants the rate cut because of the pump. Same chart, same data, different opinion on it, different outlook. And that's the crazy thing about this thing. So don't lose sight. And that's because this happened. So now it's a positive. The fundamentals are positive on this. And it's not. So yeah, that's me. Might be crazy. There's not a lot of it. I haven't charted much. We've just been talking. I do apologize. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Imagine alt season was November 2024. Yes. Okay. Something like that. Okay. So do I think it's going to happen then? Yes, I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's the saving grace. It's going to give us short-term upside and probably going to be giving us a lot more downside. Okay. Then how do you use heat maps and predict dumps and pumps? Okay, Chief Boy, I'm going to drop a little bomb for you there. Okay. There's many heat maps and many tools that you can use to kind of look at the market to try and define whether there's going to be a dump or a pump. The one thing that I like to use instead of that is I like to use look at the funding rate, because that tells you effectively what is happening in the market realistically at the moment. Who's buying? Is a lot of people buying, and so forth. So I would instead say, learn how to use the funding rate, because if the funding rate goes up, but the amount of Bitcoin's price is going down, it's telling you something. Okay, it's the same way If price goes up and the funding rate doesn't follow that, it's telling you something, then there's a divergence. That is the one thing, okay, in the shortest way that I can try and look at that. Then if we look at liquidations, liquidations is just a case of a lot of traders positioning themselves in a close-knit environment. And then if the market runs onto their stops, they all get liquidated. And that is part of life. But here's the secret sauce, the funding rate. Exchanges look at the data and they calculate how much can they charge you for being in a long position versus how much can they pay the people for taking the other side of the market. And when you look at the funding rate, okay, you're going to see that really good bottoms are followed by this flipping negative, meaning there's not enough longs, so they have to incentivize them. So they start charging the shorts and they start paying the people holding the longs. That's when you get really good bottoms, really good bottoms. That's when that happens. Now, you're talking about heat maps. So Chief Boy, something to ask. If we have a look at a heat map, I don't have any heat maps loaded right now because I don't use it anymore. But let's use the point and figure chart because that is my answer to a heat map. A heat map would typically say, maybe let's see if I've got Trend Spider loaded on this. I don't have it. Okay. A heat map typically now say there's a lot of sellers there, a lot of buyers there. So this area will be colored in darker. But can people change their minds? So say price goes down to these levels and these people that were going to buy decide they're not going to buy anymore. They think they're going to buy there now. What happens to your heat map? It is only showing you the intent of people. It's not showing you the actions of people. Therefore, heat maps is not a successful way to try and chart whether there's going to be a dump or a pump. It just shows you intent. You need to have a look at when people have acted and they can either be compromised, either they bought, and is this thing going to get, are the liquidation going to get grabbed or not? You cannot look at what they think they're going to do or what they promise to do because they are allowed to change their minds. So use it as a tool, but just, kind of just, put it in the right place of what it needs to be. Let's get to charting. Okay. There's more questions coming in. Maybe let's have a look. If Sailor and other institutions are buying without moving the market, then who's selling with such force that it's driving it instead? Okay, so this is an interesting question. And you know what happens? And let's see if I can find information. Let's go to Crypto Rand's Twitter page. I mean, that guy posts a lot of on-chain data regarding that. Let's quickly see if I can find something there. So to your question, all right, let's bring it up. Okay. Why are they not moving the market? Where's the force? The amount of Bitcoin currently on the exchanges. Let's see if I can find him. Okay. Where is that chart? BTC on exchanges. So the thing about live, I don't have these things. I'm typing that in. It's a Crypto Rand. There you go. Let's quickly see. The inflows and the outflows. You'll probably have a chart somewhere in here again. Okay. Let's scroll. I don't have any. I'm not seeing anything real quick. So, market growth. No. Okay, so I'm going to try and manufacture the chart for you just to kind of answer you on that, Dante. Okay, so previous bull market high was there, and Bitcoin is now here, so it's much higher. The amount of Bitcoin on the exchanges was there, and the amount of Bitcoin on the exchanges is here. So this is what happened over time. As more investors invested into Bitcoin, they buy the Bitcoin and then they move it off the exchange. That's what happens. Okay. So now you're saying if Sailor and other institutions are buying without moving the market, then who is selling with such force? Simple. If there's less spot volume on an exchange and I can leverage the market, I'm allowed to. It's easier for me to manipulate price back down to where I wanted to buy again. If you think about this, if I have one Bitcoin here and Bitcoin goes from $100 Just this coin, whatever coin, goes from $100 to $200. I still have one coin, double the amount of money. If I can short that one coin and the coin retraces back to, say, $150, I don't sell this one coin, but I can use the leverage on the other side to then close that short position and buy another half. So then I've got 1.5 coins. So I don't need to ever, whatever I buy, whatever I put in my treasury, I don't need to sell this to try and buy the bottom and sell the top, to buy the bottom and sell the top. I can use leverage to offset that. So in reality, I'm not selling anything, creating a profit. That's what hedge funds do. It's simple. We hedge. We take the other side of the market as well. And then when we do find a really good bottom, we can close that hedge short, use that additional money to buy more, and then ride up. That's how they do that. Now, exchanges give guys like that. Exchanges, miners, and backroom deals, peer-to-peer transactions. So, Dante, if you've got 10 Bitcoin, this is Dante here, okay, and this is me. If you've got 100 Bitcoin or 100 million Bitcoin, if I can talk to you directly and buy that off you, how is that going to impact the market? It doesn't. The only difference is if I was a miner and I had to go to the exchange to sell that, that's what they had to do in the old days. That will then add more supply to the market, which will then be picked up. But because I can buy it from you directly, there's no law that says I'm not allowed to do that. That's how they can do these kind of things. And big players buy that way. They don't buy on the public front. They don't go and open a Binance account to buy the stuff. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Is there any special settings for the point and figure? Yes, Liam, there's special settings. I keep that to myself. If there's an edge, you have to have your edge. Okay. If you want the settings, I share that in the Discord in my private group. And it's as simple as that. You can go pick it up there. Let's see what else. Show the like button, some love. Yeah, smash it if you want to. About 280 people joining in live. So we've spent 27 minutes talking about all sorts of stuff and not charts. So let's quickly do charts real quick. Okay. So the weekly time frame for Bitcoin is still bullish, guys. So you have to remain bullish and you have to understand that drawdown can occur. And where you bought your alts, you're just going to have to, decide how that is positioned in relation to Bitcoin. Because we can only say that the strong bearish divergence becomes a big deal once we fall below 106, 104. Okay, sorry, guys, 104. That's it. Daily time frame for us for Bitcoin in the end of the day is that of us trending bearish now. We've made a lower low, lower high, hidden bearish divergence over the weekend. There it is. This is a bearish trend now, guys. And although we got our buy in nicely, we got to close to TP2, stop at break even. That's it. This is all part of this wave. So you have to treat the trend as if it's going to last forever, and means that there's nothing bullish here at this stage. We've left the bottom of the range. We're outside the range. 112, where it was support, is now resistance. We're going to look for lower lows. This means that if we then clean up the screen and look at this from a 4-hour point of view, what have we done now? We create an all-time high. We fell below the strong bearish divergence pivot that was created there. Okay. We've turned it into resistance, and now we've made a lower low. So in all fairness, this is the exact same as that we had here from the high point of view. So it means one thing is, although the momentum is bearish, we could potentially pretty soon, say at around 109, create yet another bottom signal. And then maybe go to 120 before it's over. And in that move, there could be alts performing really well. Ethereum gave us clues like that. Ethereum pushed its all-time high for the first time, went up 15%. But what have we done? Higher high in price, lower high in the RSI. What's the rule? Don't fall below that pivot or else it is bad. And that's why I just want to I'm not just selling to you guys, hodl, hodl, hodl. You're all good. Because if Bitcoin finds a base, say 109, and it goes up and Ethereum starts hitting this area, we've got strong bearish divergence and price fighting resistance. This then becomes resistance. Then we're going to go and target lower lows. So you need to see how compromised you are within your positions, wherever you bought your ETH, and decide that. Because we can reclaim this again and go to the moon as well. But the TA tells me that this is the more probable play at this stage. Okay. The same then is going to be for Solana. Zoom out. And I'm going to head over to these charts, the charts that I've been sharing with you guys for forever. Okay, Solana. The argument is that I'm saying that we want to see that 5 wave, be it here, be it wherever it needs to be, meaning that we're not done. Solana just pushed a new higher high. So for this purposes, we could say that as Bitcoin is finding some feet, this is maybe 1, 2, this is the argument for 4, and there's one more move left. That could be exaggerated and can go to crazy highs, but that is that. And that is then what's going to create the 5, which is going to lock this in. And maybe where there is a potential for this, but this could be the beginning of the next cycle. I mean, a 3 to a 4 is a very long wave. We know this. So your Solana play, I won't abandon alts. I'm not throwing away all my spots and just getting out and walking away. But I'm understanding the fact that we're nearing a top, and complacency is the way that you get trapped. So if there's profit to be had, take some of it. Move stops, cover risk, so that if the market turns, you're protected. But you cannot be successful in the market if you're only going to take profit when it comes back for your stops. You need to take profit from a point of strength, not from a point of weakness. Otherwise, your next action is also going to be wrong. Okay, and that's it. That's where we're at. And simple stuff, guys. Big blue candles means we're bullish. Big red candles means we're bearish. What have we had? Big red candle. We don't need to overcomplicate these things. If you look at Cardano, same thing, big red candle. Cardano is, maybe it's over. Maybe this whole beautifully laid plan means that is the top, and this is the beginning of. This is why there's many counts in Elliott wave. A big ABC correction, and this then becomes a 5 wave to the downside. When an analysis fails, there's always a counter analysis. So we're playing the best case scenario. The probability is that the alts could still go make a higher high. The probability for that is on the basis that the point and figure chart says to me there's some liquidity there. There's also some liquidity left at 114 and so forth, which could give these coins a momentum. Okay, that's it. Now, to end off this, when we look at the CME, let's quickly look at that. CMEs were created. And when they do get created, we typically say the market will go and revisit that range. So here we had a CME that got created, gap down. The market built a base, went back to that, filled it, then tested, demand held, and the market moved. So the CME by itself doesn't indicate what direction the trend is. It just tells you that there's some liquidity left there. There you had a CME get created, market tested it a couple of times, and boop, pops your uncle, it ran. So where we're at right now, we do have a massive CME at the moment. It doesn't mean that we're going to go and fill it today. Statistically, CMEs do get filled on the first trading day after the weekend. So today is the best bet for you, if you're a scalp trader, to try and go long, to try and get into the CME. But the trend at this stage on this time frame, 4 hour, is bearish. So what's going to happen around these areas is you need to look at the RSI at these highs there. And if we do get into the CME, let's say we hit 115, 114, it's very simple. If you get there, price is making a lower high and the RSI is there, it's yet again more hidden bearish divergence. You short that shit. If we get there, and like the last time we were trying to short it, it grabs your liquidity and runs away. There, we had the massive we had the massive sell-off. Pump dropped over the weekend, CME gets there, hidden bearish divergence is there. Okay, we need to short the market. When you get to be wrong, it's okay. Oops. because then you can use that as the base to buy, because then the market will defend that area. So it's up to you now to decide if you want to pick sides or you want to pick both sides. You can wait for the market to move into this area and then just short it. Or you can hunt for a long to try and trade in this area. And if you're wrong, the market will regain this area and continue on higher. And if you're right, it's going to dump down and you're also going to suffer. Okay, that's the reality of the answers. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys. I know that it might be a little confusing. I might be jumping through some ideas. I don't really prepare for these feeds. I try and do them as honestly as I can. But in all fairness, Cardano, I want to see the market move on a little bit higher. If you want to support the content, what you need to do is get your Bybit account today. Okay, guys? Peter, let me just do that. There you go. Right. It's a Monday. I'll give it to him. It's a Monday. Okay, so get your Bybit account. That will allow you access to some of my educational content in the Discord. I do have in the Discord, I do have the charts where we keep up to date with everything, how we're hodling, what we're doing in there, as well as where we look at the market, from a purely, fundamental point of view. I try and just share my thoughts and so forth. And in addition to this, also what you do have is you get access to my buddy indicator. The indicator is very simple. If you want to be trading, it tells you what I would typically be looking for, whether the market is bearish or bullish or consolidating and so forth. And then it gives you these signals in a very simple point of view. You enter between the purple lines and you trade the thing as the market momentum moves. Okay, it's as simple as that. So back the channel that backs your trades, support the content, and that's it. Thanks so much, guys. Other than that, when we move back to our altcoins, we can quickly then just go through a few that I would stay away from. But I'm really looking at for the next cycle, coins like Sonic. Because if Bitcoin then needs to push to these gaps, Bitcoin needs to, there's a gap there as well, 114, there's a gap 116. These coins could potentially then break a little bit of trend, try and get a higher high so that they can do what? They can start their first accumulation. Because up till now, it's still trending bearish. There's no accumulation. In order for there to be a good move in alt, it will be trending down, then it will be trending sideways, then it trends up. If it trends and turns around, it does a reversal. It's a fast move. It's a manipulated move, whatever the case might be. It's fast, it doesn't last. You want this. So when I look at Sonic through that kind of lens, I want to see on this scale, it's still trending down. I want to see us break these lines and start going sideways, because then this would be a big mover into the future. Okay. Coins like Link, I mean, they're exceptionally strong. They've reached the targets, guys. Strong bearish divergence, strong bearish divergence. And guess what? No hidden bullish divergence. This RSI should be down there if we want to go on a little bit higher. Take some profit on these things, guys. The market is telling you that it's time to take a little bit of profit. Even if I'm wrong, you've locked in gains. I can't give you financial advice, but the TA is saying you. It's a no-brainer at this stage, okay? XRP failed to make higher highs. I want to see this thing go and push in new highs. But what if this is the high? I mean, there's no way that we would ever know. It's only after the fact that you will always have the perfect picture. So the trend is there. We're consolidating in a triangle kind of pattern, okay? Triangle move. Means that when it breaks down or breaks out, the next move will be exceptionally big. So you need to keep an eye on this. And where it's at right now, what do we have? Higher high in the RSI. Let's see. Lower high in price. Hidden bearish divergence. That wave is playing out right now. If demand holds, we can try and get in again at 280 to try and drive this thing up. If not, if it fails within the next few days, this thing is going to dump hard. It's that risk that you have to deal with. Okay, coins like Say, same thing. We've been falling out of demand since forever. If this is the end and we're done for, then we're very close to starting a bearish trend. It's a good time to be in. If you're in positions, you hold your positions. Bitcoin hasn't lost major resistance. But if it does, this thing, you need to be able to draw a line. Find that, define that for you. I can't make that decision for you. Okay. Right, that's it. I hope that then sorts it out. Guys, thanks so much. 40 minutes. It's been a long stream. You have a lovely day. The week is going to be very busy. There's a lot that we need to keep an eye on. Today is a banking holiday, German banking holiday. There's going to be a little less liquidity in the market regarding the New York, the sessions that we're in now. But I imagine the big move is going to happen with Bitcoin this afternoon, say in 5 hours from now. And my play would be the following for trading. We're at the bottom of what would be a bearish move. So I assume that this demand that got created will get tested, and that's what's happening in now. So I'll look at the 15-minute. This is what I'm going to do for everybody I'm going to look at the 15-minute to see if I can find a nice floor. This is the big trade that we did. If I can find a nice floor, okay. If I can find the floor, we'll trade this thing up. There's a little gap there. From 114, I'm going to be shorting the market. That's it. That's the most probable play. That's what I'm looking to do. Okay. And that's it, guys. That's the play. Have a lovely day. Chat to you later. You know what to do. Join the Discord. Get your Bybit account. Get the tools. And we'll talk later. Cheers.